Hello and welcome to the morning after show presented by our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy Sports. My name is Joshua Reimer. I'm joined by none other than Jared Block, who's over on my right. Jared, how was your Tuesday? How's the beginning of your Wednesday as well?
This feels like the longest week in forever, at least this baseball season. I
Yeah,
know we've only been through a couple of them, but it's been something. So
yeah,
here I am spending my time, Josh, looking at the Rockies 2022 Rockies promotions for fans. I
nice,
found out today that there's a giveaway today, and it's dollar hot dogs on 420. So
nice.
think that they did make up for it a little bit by not having the start time there.
Just a little bit. You got to imagine how many fans are going to be high going into that game. By the way, happy 420 to all the smokers out there. I'm not partaking. I know Jared's not partaking, but happy 420 to anyone else who is. We're just talking about all the mistakes and all the cool promotional stuff that people have been doing today so far. Like if you go look at our friends over at Underdog, they have a tournament where it's Whoa Dude Wednesday, and then the description for it is it's like an NBA battle royale man. And we thought that was pretty perfect. And then we're just talking about the Coors game today and just saying that like they missed a major opportunity with not making it 420. So like I don't know, but like Jared said, kind of making up for it with some dollar hot dogs, I guess. Anyway, happy 420 to everyone out there. We still have some sports to talk about, so hopefully you guys are able to enjoy 420 while we're able to talk about sports, and we can all have a good time. Maybe we can give you some laughs while you're getting high. Jared, any other thoughts before we get into the NBA playoffs last night?
No, let's go ahead and do it because I was I don't know. Let's just get to it because I was slightly it was kind of like meh the whole night until towards the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had fun watching all the games. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit of a Grizzlies fan right now. But regardless, first game on the docket, Heat facing off against the Hawks here. This one was at least closer than the first matchup, which you got to give it credit for. But at the end of the day, Jimmy Butler having an amazing performance, 45 real life points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, just looked untouchable out there. Trae Young not necessarily disappearing from this one. I mean, he still had his usual 25, but like it feels like for this Hawks team to win in the playoffs, they're gonna need like 40 every night from Trae Young, and he's not able to do that with Kyle Lowry defense. So I don't know. What's your thoughts? We've kind of already talked about this one. It feels like it's going to be 4-0 Heat. But what are your thoughts on the series so far?
Yeah, I was surprised this one was a little bit closer considering that Clint Capella is basically ruled out for the series. They did have John Collins start in this one, and he did play 30 minutes or 29 minutes, so that was at least good to see. But they just don't have enough firepower on offense to keep up with the Heat defense. I think there's just too much differential of talent on the teams, and we finally saw just it's kind of been this thing of like who's going to step up for the Heat, and any given guy is going to step up and do his job. But last night was Jimmy Butler night, so we'll see how that moves during the playoffs here. Is he going to be the one? Like it technically is Jimmy's team, and it has been, but this season it's just been kind of like they haven't really needed one guy to necessarily step up in a crunch time situation. So I'm excited to see who actually is going to step up for this team. They're finally getting healthy for the first time in a while, and they're not even playing. Like I know that Markieff Morris was ruled in. I know that a few other guys were ruled in, but they're not even touching. They're not even playing them right now.
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo is nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. You're right. Victor Oladipo is nowhere to be found, and it's going to be interesting to see what this Heat team is able to do in the later series. I don't feel like this one's really going to test them that much against the Hawks. Even heading back to Atlanta on Friday, I think that this Heat team's probably going to end up sweeping. So we'll have to see what happens there. Let's talk about this next game. Grizzlies facing off against the Timberwolves. Grizzlies win 124-96. Ja Morant had that video that he posted to Instagram with the Jordan Last Dance documentary, where he said it's really easy to talk shit after 1-0. start talking shit after 0-0, and he lived up to it. He led this team to a win, even through getting injured a little bit. He got hit pretty hard by Cat on that injury where he had to go to the locker room, but still came back out, still performed, played the second most minutes on the team, and that's kind of a weird thing to say considering he only played 30 minutes in this game. I know the bench came out pretty early when this one was pretty much done. I
Yep.
feel like the story of this series so far has been fouls, honestly. I mean, you saw in the first 3 minutes of this game, you had 8 fouls already in 3 minutes and one flagrant. Like it was absolutely insane, and one technical as well. So the fouls are just going absolutely ballistic, and that really affected Karl Anthony Towns at the end of the day, who was only able to
Yep.
get 28 minutes, 15 points, because he was dealing with foul trouble basically throughout the whole thing.
Yes, he was. It's been a difficult series for Karl Anthony Towns. It's been a difficult postseason for him. He did not show up in that game against the Clippers, I believe. That's the one that D'Angelo and Anthony had to take over. I just don't know. Like, hey, this is gonna be like this should be Karl Anthony Towns' defining moment on whether or not he can actually be part of a playoff type contending team. So I'm interested to see how he views that moving forward. But yeah, the calls of all the fouls have been pretty ridiculous in this series, and I think it's going to remain that way. Maybe they overcorrected a little bit from game one, considering all um, the chippy play that was taking place during game one. I am a little bit confused why Steven Adams played 3 minutes in this
Yeah.
game, and that was weird. I also think that yeah, they were able to give a lot of people opportunity, play the Xavier Tillmans and Zaire Williams when they normally probably won't be able to moving forward. Good for them. I mean, they're able to save their starters, and they looked really good at home, and it just everything seemed to kind of fall and go their way there in the second and third quarters to really blow that thing up. And Minnesota kind of felt like they got shaken a little bit. So do we think that? So first of all, I think that Memphis um, viewed. I think that they viewed Game One as their wake up call because I don't think that they really ever had to fight through much adversity this season. They were able to beat really good teams all year, and they went like I don't know 20-2 without Ja in the last month plus of the season. Is this the first time you think that they're really overcoming adversity and maybe they needed this wake up call to be able to kind of reset themselves?
Yeah, maybe they needed the wake up call to reset themselves. But like I've said about this game and about that first game specifically, I think this team just needed time with Ja back on the floor. Like Ja clearly changes how this offense plays out. It changes how the defense plays out as well. Having Ja be a defender instead of Tyus it's a big difference for this team. So Ja isn't a piece that just fits into a lineup and you can easily fit him in and not make any changes. I feel like you have to adjust to someone like that in your lineup again, and having him in the lineup clearly changes things. And I think they just needed a game to get used to that. So I think if I'm going to predict how the series goes, they split another one in Minnesota probably. I think there's going to be one, probably the first game in Minnesota that's going to just. I think Minnesota fans are going to go absolutely crazy. So I'm excited to see what that home atmosphere looks like for the Timberwolves. But then I think you see the Grizzlies get this in six, basically. I think you see the Timberwolves win two, Grizzlies win four, and end up getting it. Maybe a game seven, but most likely 6 games. And I mean, the Grizzlies showed yesterday, even without Steven Adams, just how good this team is. And they don't necessarily need Steven Adams to be in there to end up being a dominant team.
Yeah, I think they like what they see with the current matchups. They'll need Adams at certain points of the playoffs, but don't have to play the guys that you don't think fit in the game. I'm really concerned to see how the Grizzlies fare on the road. They were a very good team on the road this year, 26-15 away from home, and the Wolves 26-15 at home. So it's going to be kind of a standoff of sorts. And I do think that the Wolves they've already had some home playoff games, and if it's anything like that atmosphere, I think they can win one more.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they can win one more as well. Little Italy said Steven Adams is the absolute worst. I could not agree more, kind sir. But
Oh
let's
yeah,
t-
I played them last night too.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough out there for Steven Adams DFSers. Regardless, let's talk about this next game and the last game. It was the Phoenix Suns facing off against Scott Foster. I mean, the New Orleans Pelicans, and Pelicans came out on top. Jared, I don't know if you knew this, but this is now an 0-14 stretch for when Chris Paul faces off against a team when Scott Foster is the referee on the floor.
This year or
0-14
playoff teams.
playoff games. I'm pretty, or no, I'm pretty sure it's just all overall, like not just this season. But I think it's an overall statistic. I don't. It dates back several years now. I saw a graphic about it on Twitter. But it dates back several years at the end of the day. But yeah, this was a really this was kind of interesting spot for the Suns, right? Because we saw the Pelicans really come out in the third quarter and just look absolutely crazy. I mean, Brandon Ingram looked like looked absolutely incredible at every part in this game. Like 37 real life points, 39 minutes, shot 13 for 21, was perfect from the free throw line, almost had a triple double. And then you're in this really close game with the Suns, and then you have Devin Booker go out. With that right hamstring tightness, and it's just that's tough, man, to lose your second best player on the team and only have him play 25 minutes throughout this game. Kind of tells you all you need to know. And now we're 1-1 in a game that's the 1 seed versus the 8 seed, and now we're heading into New Orleans, who haven't seen a playoff series in forever. So like I don't know. I think just like that Minnesota fan or that Minnesota crowd, this New Orleans crowd is going to be very rowdy once the Suns come into town.
Yeah, I think that yeah. So I'm trying really hard to give the Pelicans the credit because I know everybody probably is just going to say, "Oh, this game's different if Booker plays." But I do think I liked what I saw. Like Booker played the whole first half, and New Orleans was right there with him. So I don't know. I think that I want to give uh, Brandon Ingram his props. I think CJ McCollum moving away from Portland, as sad as that is to see, was one of the best career moves that he could have possibly made at the end of the day. Because I think he's gonna get like he has a team now where he's able to run things how he wants to run them, and Brandon Ingram I think is coming into his own as well. The New Orleans has a lot of good things moving forward to look at, and I think Herb Jones, they I couldn't they couldn't stop talking about him on the broadcast yesterday. He was everywhere, and
No.
they said they liked him. They're playing three rookies in this playoff series right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane to see what this team is doing so far. For those people who say, it's because of Devin Booker getting hurt, I'll just remind them that Pelicans were up 75-73 when Devin Booker ended up going out with that injury. So even with Devin Booker in the game, this Pelicans team was still in a spot to win. I think it would have been a lot closer down the stretch with Devin Booker on the floor, but the Pelicans had everything going for him in this game, and I mean, shout out to
Yeah,
this starting lineup. Like it's a great starting lineup overall. When you have CJ and you have Brandon Ingram being your top two guys, and then you have good defense with Herb Jones, and you have guys coming off of the bench. Like I think Jose Alvarado is one of those guys that's just going to be a spark plug for as long as this Pelicans team can remain in the playoffs. He got that big steal against Chris Paul, which I know kind of changed the game a little bit, and he's just been amazing for this team just throughout the whole season. I've talked about him a ton, so I like this Pelicans team. I like this Pelicans team a lot. Now, are they going to win against the Suns? No, but this is a good game. It's a good game to get in there for a gentleman's sweep. I think it's pretty solid for this Pelicans team to at least win one, in my opinion.
yeah, it's a big win for the organization because they get to have these juiced up home playoff games, and they're only probably going to get two, obviously. But I do think it's just worth mentioning that this team, before getting CJ McCollum and Larry Nance and a bunch of their other pieces that they acquired in the second half of the year, they could have just decided to tank it all in, and they didn't. So they were able to earn themselves, while it's probably bad for their future, but at the same time, they thought that they were a playoff team, and that's the direction they wanted to go. So they made that happen, and they still were able to survive at least one piece of the play-in tournament. And this win's big for them, even though it's not really going to matter in the grand scheme of things. It's good for a very small market franchise.
Well, I mean, remember how this Pelicans team started the year? Like they were like 0-12 or 1-12 or something ridiculous, and like everyone just thought like, man, this team is down bad right now. But hey, look pretty solid. And I mean, imagine what this team looks like with Zion. Like replace Jackson Hayes with Zion minutes, and
Mhm.
this looks like a completely different team. Obviously, that relies on him getting healthy and stuff. But you know, even if he doesn't get healthy, he gets traded somewhere, and you get a big haul for him at the end of the day. So this Pelicans team, I feel like, is one of those teams that's in a really good spot when it all comes down to it. All right, we've talked about the NBA enough. Also, the coolest moment of the playoffs so far. Did you see Devin Booker fist bump a baby? That was freaking awesome, right?
I didn't see that. No.
Dude, no, you need to go look it up right now because hold on, let's see if I can go find it because it's one of the coolest moments I think I've ever seen in a playoff game. Let's go see Devin Booker and baby.
Oh, it
Here
was
we
after
go.
he made the shot. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I'll put it in. I'm putting it in the Twitch stream chat, that so everyone else can look at it as well. But I'll link it to you in our production room. Here you go.
That's pretty
it's,
epic.
it's absolutely awesome, man. It was freaking hilarious, and it was a really cool moment. So I enjoyed it. All right, Jared, do you have anything else on the NBA playoffs? If not, let's talk about the MLB and everything that happened last night.
No. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the good games tonight. I think that the Boston Celtics have a really tough challenge here, and if I I keep seeing everywhere that they're basically bullying Durant, and if they're going to be able to bully Durant without fouls like that, um, Boston's going to win the series easily. So we'll see how much the officiating overcorrects here because it's going to be really interesting to watch with that one. I do think Durant, if you're predicting that, I think that Durant has a massive night tonight.
Yep, I could definitely see it. We'll just have to see what happens. All right, let's talk about the MLB and everything that's going on over there. I don't really have much to touch on. There wasn't a lot of exciting stuff that happened here. I guess the most exciting stuff that did happen was the nightcap games. We saw some very hot tempers in the Padres versus the Reds last night. Did you see this when Luke Voigt dove into home and took down Tyler Stevenson with almost like a wrestling move? This was an
Yeah,
absolutely insane play, and it seems like the Reds are pretty pissed off about it, especially after we heard yesterday that Tyler Stevenson did come down with a concussion and because of that move. So, Tommy Pham came out talking about how if Luke Voigt wants to fight, he's down for it anytime. Kyle Farmer said some pretty strong words about it. The Reds are pretty pissed off today, man. I'm very curious to see how today's games go because I feel like there can be some plunking potentially. There could be some strong words.
yeah.
You could see benches clear. Who knows?
Uh, I I'm watching this. I saw it last night, and I think you have to remember that the Reds are like the most fighting prone team in the league. Uh, I think they've cleared the benches more than any other team in the last like 5 seasons. Now, with that being said, this it's definitely uncalled for because you're not supposed to make contact with the catchers anymore. Um, that was always one of my like things that I was always excited for as a kid, but I understand why they decided to not do away with that rule. I don't know. You can make the case for Voight, but you can also make the case that it was completely he should have been able to just dive out of the way, I guess.
Yeah, just
But
putting that link.
I don't know if Luke Voigt's athletic enough to dive out of the way.
Yeah,
So
I mean, like, I just don't understand the part where like he's grabbing his head. I guess that's just like where your hands land while you're
yeah, well,
sliding.
he did. He was fine up until he pushed both hands into his face.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. By the way, anyone who wants to watch that who didn't get to see it last night, I just posted it in the stream chat for anyone to see. Um, I don't know. I feel like that's where like the slide. It should have been a head first slide anyway. I know Luke Voigt isn't necessarily the most athletic base runner, so maybe that's the reason we didn't see that head first slide. But just a really interesting case, man. And I don't know. Tommy Pham said here's exactly what Tommy Pham said. He said he knows a gym owner in San Diego and is willing to fight Luke Voigt at any time. Um, so who knows what's going to happen there? But again, strong words said in the Reds facing off against the Padres, and we have that game again today as Mackenzie Gore takes them out. That'll certainly be an interesting one. We also had the Braves and Dodgers face off in a game where the Braves were able to win it and had some big hits throughout the game. It was kind of surprising to see Walker Bueller end up not winning another game against the Braves, but wasn't able to come through. We saw Max Fried throw an absolute gem, going 7 innings and 8 strikeouts. And I think one of the most interesting little tidbits in this game, you had Kenley Jansen face off against Freddie Freeman in the ninth inning in just a weird event where it seemed like an alternate reality where you have Kenley Jansen that's on the Braves and a Freddie Freeman that's on the Dodgers. Like it looked weird. It didn't look right.
That's the matchup we all want. I like it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that I think we're going to be seeing a lot of these Braves Dodgers moving forward, and wouldn't be surprised if we got another. I don't really think like. Do you really think that there are two better teams in the National League?
Um, no, probably not. I mean, I guess you can make a case for the Mets. The Mets look really good right now. That's another game that I guess we could talk about a little bit. Mets get a walk off yesterday with Frankie Lindor getting a walk off single. That game was a lot of fun to watch. It was a really good one at the end of the day. But I think that yeah, the Braves and Dodgers definitely can contend as the top two teams and could be a repeat of last year's NLCS.
Wouldn't be surprised. I do think that there will at least be, at the very least, I would say two more playoff series, and every single time these two teams face off in the regular season, it's going to feel like a postseason environment. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, really interesting. Obviously, we couldn't play it for DFS, but we did have some people take down stuff in that single game last night. I believe Fatty won over $800 last night on this game.
Yeah, I saw that. Very nice win by Can of Corn. Can of Corn had Max Fried in his captain spot over on DK, and so you guys can kind of probably
Yep.
think about how that went. Went really, really well for Can of Corn and all of the members over there. So, Jared, last thing I want to talk about, it's not on the topics list, but something that I wanted to get your thoughts on. Did you see what Debo Samuel's brother said on Facebook yesterday?
No,
All
no.
right, so
I
time to
can
pull
only
up.
imagine what it is. Yeah.
Time to pull up another clip here. Let's see if I can find it. Debo Samuel brother on Twitter. Uh,
Oh, there it is. Taekwon
yeah,
Samuel.
yeah.
Okay.
So for those who want to know what it is, I just posted in the chat. But some Niners fans said trade him, and then Taekwon Samuel replied, "Don't worry, we're asking for a trade," and then doubled down on that response, saying yesterday that at least he won't be a 49er anymore. Lots of stuff coming out of this Debo Samuel camp. Uh, I'm curious to see what happens as a Niners fan. I kind of regret wearing the Niners hat now, but that's okay. What do you think happens out of this Debo Samuel controversy? Because it feels like the team is going back and forth on this.
I I don't trust anything that comes out of the 49ers news camp. So
Yeah, I don't blame
who
you.
knows? I mean, who knows with this? And on top of that, this has been the craziest offseason potentially ever. So I would not be surprised if he moved on somewhere else. I just don't know where he'd go, to be completely honest with you.
Supposedly, this is the rumor that I've heard from a few, take it for what it's worth. It's Twitter rumors, so it's probably not very
Sure.
true. But supposedly, the Jets have already made an offer for Debo Samuel. And,
Oh, that'd be fun.
it kind of makes sense after losing out on Tyreek Hill to go get a guy like Debo instead. Get a weapon for Zach Wilson. I don't know. I'm of the camp of I really don't want to pay Debo Samuel. I feel like he's going to command a similar contract to what Tyreek Hill got. I don't feel like any wide receiver deserves 3 years for $75 million right now, especially a guy like Debo who hasn't been healthy for a whole season, his whole NFL career. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts as a Niners fan. But that is that. Jared, let's get to the dog days of spring. Let's cap this off with an underdog bet.
All right, let's do it. While I'm getting that pulled up, I just wanted to let everybody know that last night's game between the Orioles and the Oakland A's had an attendance of 3,748 people.
Lots of good seats
So,
left up there. I saw I
yeah,
saw some pictures and I was like, wow, that's a spicy one.
yeah,
Uh,
that's not a good look, baseball fans. That's not a good
No,
look.
not a good look. But did you know, because I saw someone talking about this on TikTok the other day, did you know that the tickets to a Vandy Tennessee game, baseball game, were costing
Mhm.
more than tickets to the Final Four?
Well, Vandy is extremely good. So is
Vandy
Tennessee.
is
So
extremely good.
I don't blame that, but that's comparing it to the Final Four is crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy to compare it to the Final Four. Mike P 222 says, "Well, good morning, handsome. Good morning to you too, good sir." Literally said 49ers are like, keep Debo's name out your mouth. Yeah, it's very, we've seen this before though, like family members commenting on a player's on what a player is doing. I don't know. It's just all very, very interesting with the Debo Samuel stuff, but it's more of a wait and see scenario than anything else. All right, let's get to Underdog. Let's take some picks today. Do you have anything that you really like?
I do, and it's right at the top of the night, and so I'm not. We've been kind of scaling back a little bit on batters and their props because of the variance that's been happening there. So the one thing I do know today, Kevin Durant not going to score under 22 points again in this series. He's going over 29.5 points today.
I like it. I like the pick a lot. I just wanted to see one thing before I took my pick. I don't know if I'll be able to see it. Hold on, 1 second. I'll be able to do it shortly. Maybe if I can find this. Where is it?
Oh,
There.
also, I remember the Scott Foster thing. That's definitely real from last year's playoffs too.
Yeah, it is. It totally is. I remember it too from last year. I forget what game he was in, but I remember the game was a
He was in
loss
one of the
for.
Bucks games. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Do, 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 do. Ooh, that's kind of spicy still. Hmm. All right, I'm going to do it. Merrill Kelly over 82 and a half pitches for me in this Washington and Arizona game. I like Kelly a lot today. I know a lot of people aren't talking about him, but it's an interesting spot pitching wise. So what was your pick?
My pick was Kevin Durant over 29.5 points.
So you take the
Real life
basketball
points.
pick. I take the baseball pick. Merrill Kelly over 82 and a half pitches. Let's have a good day, Jaron. Let's have a great day, in fact. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Weird stuff all over the board today in terms of lock times for baseball. We'll keep you posted on what that means for everybody. But each early only slate's a different time, and each main slate's a different time. So FanDuel and DraftKings obviously didn't talk to each other last night.
Yeah, did not talk to each other whatsoever. It's a very interesting slate times. So make sure to pay attention. Make sure to go take a look now. Reserve your contest. Set some alarms. Shout out to the first time chatters in the chat too. Paul's modeling company and P Fight as a proud Arkansas native. Giannis Perez. We love college baseball. College baseball is fun, man. And Little Italy's right. Giannis Perez is right. People who like college baseball really, really like college baseball. I've seen it in Nashville with Vandy being a very predominant school. So you certainly are right there. But Jared, we are going to get out of here. We'll be live tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ready to break down all the playoff games and everything that goes on today in the world of sports. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer. Good night and good skill.